Everyone deserves access to the right treatment, no matter where they are or their circumstances. Incarceration should never block someone from receiving proper care. Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. HIV is not a crime.
I'm Lloyd Starks.
And where are you from?
I'm from Detroit.
Okay. And how long have you been in the HIV advocacy work?
The last 6 years. I really like it. It's cathartic for me. It's a healing process. I try to find different avenues to get the message across. Anytime that I can speak, I'm going to try to do so, especially if I think the right persons or person.
What do you think when you hear the words, HIV is not a crime?
Well, then you have to think about the legal system, because for quite some time it's been a point of emphasis with the legal system and the HIV epidemic when it comes to people having sex. It's been a criminalized process in a lot of instances. So that's what comes to mind for me.
Absolutely. What made you want to get involved in HIV work?
Well, I was being served by different organizations and agencies and also individuals, and made my journey through this process much easier. And I felt like if I could speak to others about my journey and the things that I've experienced, that perhaps I could help someone make it through the process themselves in a much easier way, or give them some information that might ease their mind or in some cases, their soul.
There you go. Now we know that HIV is typically looked upon as a gay man's disease. We hear the term MSM a lot, men who sleep with men. Can you speak to that for us today?
Well, that's propagated by a lot of different people who are basically, I won't say uneducated, I would say naive to the real transmission of HIV. And that's because historically there was a emphasis on gay men, specifically white gay men, that first contracted the illness, but that quickly transfigured into something totally different, because I myself, I identify as heterosexual, so I'm not a gay man and I have HIV. So I know for a fact that it's not completely contained in the HIV community.
Thank you for sharing that with us. How has the support been for you in the community as a heterosexual man?
Well, because the preponderance of the treatment, I would say the finances are directed towards gay individuals, it's a little spotty for people who identify as heterosexual. And by that I don't mean that I'm not getting treated and I'm not getting supported. It's just that there's more support, I would say, for the gay community. I'm not adverse to that or feel like that's unneeded, but there could be more support for people like myself who identify as heterosexual.
Absolutely. How is it dating for you, living with HIV?
When I first realized that,
Yeah.
it was horrendous, because I thought it was a death sentence. And I also, being a responsible adult, realized that at the time that I was diagnosed, that you could transmit that to other people. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to somehow try to have safe sex with the females that I was dealing with, or let them know and let them see if they wanted to still engage in sex, actually. So at first I say they didn't want to. So at first I was not dating at all.
Wow. How long did that last for you?
It lasted for some years.
Yeah.
And recently, with the advances in medicine and the revelation of U equals U, which is undetectable equals untransmittable, I've been engaged with dating a little more. At first I didn't want to be transparent, but eventually I became transparent because the state, I guess it was the state that contacted me, and they wanted to know if I needed them to let the women who I had been engaging in sex with, if they wanted them to be able to let those women know that they have been having sex with not specifically me. They were going to leave it anonymous, but they were going to let the women know that they had been having sex with a person who had contracted HIV. But myself, I'll toot my own horn. I say I was strong enough to go to those women, because there was more than one woman that I was engaging in sex with, and they also told me that I could have had the virus in my system for like 10 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So of course I had to think back and decide to speak to those individuals to let them know what I was experiencing, and hope that they wouldn't have contracted the virus as well.
Yeah. How has the medication been, like, from your initial diagnosis up until now?
Well, when I was first diagnosed, they had to give me quite a few pills, because they had to give me pills for the virus, and also they had to give me pills for other things that the virus might give opportunity to manifest in my body. So I was taking 13 pills in the daytime, and then I was taking, I believe it was 7 pills at night. And now at this juncture, the medication has come so far to I'm only taking 1 pill a day.
Amen. And Uncle Lloyd, how long has it been since you've been diagnosed?
I believe I was diagnosed in 2001.
Oh, wow. 24 years.
Yes.
So you are what we consider a long-term survivor.
Yeah, thank God.
Amen. When you were diagnosed, did you tell anyone in your family? Did you tell any friends?
Well, I had sense enough to realize that some people would not understand, or some people would create a barrier to relationships based on the fact that I had HIV. Part of it stemmed from the fact that I myself was under the impression that it was a gay man's disease. So I knew the stigma would come from me by telling someone who was not open-minded, that they would say that I was gay.
Yeah.
Because even to this day, I hear that from people that I'm listening to, not people that I'm actually being around. But yeah, I didn't tell everybody. Well, my son took me to the hospital because I was feeling so ill, and so he was in the hospital, so I let him know. And then my daughter, one of my daughters, because I have several daughters, but one of my daughters, I told her, and I told my mom and dad, and I told my grandmother, who was alive at that time, God rest her soul, and that was it.
How was that?
Well, it was okay because all those people I knew would be open-minded about it. My daughter, she was a nursing student. My son, he's pretty open-minded. And plus, I wanted them to know for their own sake, because they could understand that they could possibly be a host for this virus as well. My son and my daughter. And then my mom and dad, they love me. My grandmother loved me. So I thought that those were the people that I needed to tell.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I needed to tell anybody else for what reason.
Yeah. Okay, so the current HIV laws in Michigan, they were revised in 2018, 2019 to say that if we are undetectable, then pretty much you don't have to disclose your status if you don't have the intent to transmit HIV. However, if you are not undetectable and if you choose not to disclose, then you could potentially be prosecuted. What do you feel about the HIV laws that we have in Michigan from where they were back in the early 1980s to where they are now?
Well, it's undetectable and also in care. So,
yes, you're right, absolutely.
So they are a step forward. That's what I would say. They're not perfect, but they are a step forward.
Okay. How do you feel about living with HIV with the current administration that we have right now?
I'm fearful.
Why?
Because I don't believe that the current administration has this as a priority for them to keep the funding and the research and all of these things. I don't think that that's a priority for them.
What is your advice to other people that are living with HIV in Detroit or in the United States right now?
Well, they should be considering advocacy themselves, because at some point their voices may be needed. However, those voices may not even create a ripple. The problem with the situation is that all these people didn't consider all the things that would come along with that administration. They didn't listen to that little black woman that was running. They didn't pay attention to what she was talking about. So they paid attention to this guy for whatever reason. So it's an old saying, you get what you pay for. So they voted for him. Some of these people that they're cutting back these jobs and whatnot, some of those people voted for him proudly. But when he starts making those cuts and whatnot, he doesn't say, okay, only the people who didn't vote for me.
Exactly.
It's everybody. If you're not at seven figures in your earnings, you really don't have a place at the table for real.
Thank you for sharing that. You said to start with advocacy. What are maybe a couple of things, one or two things that have worked for you in your advocacy that you would encourage other people to do in the community?
Well, one, I'm in a CAB, which is a community advisory board at my health clinic where I get my care. And in that role, you are able to speak for other people that may not know that they have a voice. So what happens is their services are delivered to them, but they could be delivered in a better manner. So I believe most medical clinics in this area have cabs. So that's something you might look to try to join. Also, there's an organization called SEMHAC, the Southeastern Michigan HIV/AIDS committee.
Council.
Council. Yeah, I know those C's will get mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another group you could join. There are a number of groups, MHAC, there are a number of groups that you could join where your voice is multiplied. And that helps when it comes time for advocacy.
Why is HIV not a crime?
It's not a crime. It's just an illness. I mean, cancer is not a crime, and diabetes, which I also have, is not a crime. I guess they want to criminalize it because there is some level where you could transmit that. But there are other STIs that you transmit. They're not a crime. People get them from other people. They don't get them from toilet seats.
Right.
So, but you won't get arrested if you give somebody gonorrhea. There's no crime. It's a crime of consciousness, but it's not a crime by the legal system.
Has that fear ever crossed your mind?
Absolutely. When I
Really?
first contracted the virus, because that was the law, then I could have went to prison for a considerable amount of time. I kind of understood it, but I didn't think it was right.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were in a prison living inside of that law?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm afraid to transmit the virus to somebody that I love, or I'm loving, or I'm just having sex with, or whatever. And then knowing that if they decided to bring a legal action against me because of that, I could be locked up for some amount of time.
Yeah. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Has that ever happened to you?
Well, I wasn't locked up because of HIV,
Right.
but I was locked up, and HIV played a part in how I was treated while I was locked up.
What they do to you?
Well, I had to put a little context. In 2015, I was living life as a miscreant. I was arrested. So I was sent to the Macomb County Jail because I was arrested in East Point. And as I was a prisoner there, of course, I had to get my medication because at that time I was undetectable and I was on that one pill. But as I was dealing with their medical system inside the jail, at first they refused to get my medication. I would say they refused it because they claimed they didn't have it in their drug continuum or whatever it is. But I had to do something that's called, I had to write up a kite. That's where you write up a complaint and you get it sent to wherever it goes to. And also, I didn't have an attorney at first. But once I got an attorney, then my attorney was able to follow up on that complaint that I made. And I was able to get my medication, but it had been a week
Wow.
that I was in there without, they gave me medication for high blood pressure. They gave me medication for diabetes. And they gave me medication for my depression. But somehow they couldn't give me this medication for the HIV for a week until I had a lawyer intervene.
Wow. And so, you can, at risk of becoming resistant to the medication if you miss too many doses.
Exactly.
That's very scary to think about within itself.
Exactly. And then to make matters worse, I began to experience what I would call stigma, because somehow my diagnosis became, I want to say public knowledge, although that's not really the public,
Exactly.
but it was the public as I knew it.
Yeah.
And so once that became public knowledge, I had some incidents with guards, and I had some incidents with fellow prisoners. So it was not pleasant. My stay was already not pleasant, because who wants to be locked up?
Absolutely.
But then when you're getting discriminated against on different levels while you're locked up, it's like compounding your punishment.
Yeah.
I was in a cell with another prisoner. Somehow this prisoner found out that I was HIV positive, and he made a complaint. I guess he sent a kite. He didn't want to be in the cell with me because he felt like, you're in a confinement. It's not like you have a toilet and then if I sit on the toilet, I go get the cleaner and spray it and wipe it down or anything like that. It's just asses on toilets.
Yeah.
So he felt like me being in the cell, I'm touching everything he's touching. Somehow he was going to contract HIV. And of course there was no educating him. So he made a complaint. Then I was ostracized, and eventually I had to be moved from that cell to what they call a single man. So when you say a single man, you're talking about a cell with only one bed in it.
Yeah.
So not that made me mad, that made me feel much better, because I'm on the I'm on the bottom bunk because it's only a one bunk. And the beds are not 5-star hotel beds. So, but at least I didn't have to climb up. Right now I'm 73, so at that time I was 63 years old. So, that was not a very comfortable situation for me. But then but once I was moved to the single man, then some people want to question why is that. And when some people found out about that, some people didn't. You do have little times of activities like playing cards and stuff like that. So certain individuals, they didn't want to play cards with me. Wow. They didn't want to touch those cards. They didn't want to play chess with me. They didn't want to touch those chess pieces.
Wow.
So that was traumatic.
Yeah. How have you been navigating since you've been home with that trauma that you experienced in there?
I'm under care of a psychiatrist for depression, and I also see a therapist. That's only part of what made this grow in me. Part of it was my initial diagnosis. So I'm trying to deal with that, and then that situation was like piling on. So I have medications that I take to help ease my mind, and also I go to therapy, and I talk to a therapist, which it's okay. It's, I'm not, in our community of black people, a lot of times we don't go to therapists and psychiatrists and whatnot because we don't want everybody to think we're crazy.
Right.
Crazy. I got my craziness somewhat under control, but of course you have triggers that cause you to have sometimes flashbacks or things rise up in you that you weren't anticipating. Like even now, I'm telling you about this. So I think I noticed my voice rising. So
reliving past trauma is not easy, especially to talk about it. What are some of the things that you have done since you have returned home?
Well, the cab, that is cathartic as well.
Okay.
Because I'm able to speak for people who are exactly like me, that have the same, with the same demographic, and other than my age, because most of them are not as old as me, but they also have HIV, and they have a lot of the problems or comorbidities, as they call them, that goes along with that, and being able to speak for them. And also, we don't just speak for them, we also stage events that help them raise their spirits. We give a patient appreciation day that's centered around the great fireworks that we have here, and we have different events where we invite them to, that they can get a little levity in their lives. They can get a little relief from the everyday drudgery of knowing that you have this virus and you have to deal with that, treating it, and all the other stigmas that may come from you having this virus. I'm able to give them some relief from that, even if it's just for a day or two. It helps, and it helps me to be able to do it. It's not like I'm doing it alone. The cab consists of several people, but at least I'm a part of it. And then we also are part of a World AIDS Day committee, which is every December. So once again, that's a time to more or less celebrate yourself, as opposed to thinking about, oh, I had this virus and it's not curable, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what happens from my work with the CAB. And then with SEMHAC, I was able to make decisions about how the money that comes here from the federal government is dispersed. I have made proposals that have been accepted by the organization, and it's been put into the budget. I felt good about that, because it's not every day that you're able to contribute like that. Well, as I began to lose weight, because I was a hefty guy. I weighed like 260 pounds. Right now I'm weighing 220. I started losing weight, and pretty soon I would generally wear suits. That's what the garb of the day was back then. When you would go to the club, you would wear suits. I don't know what they're wearing now. I got to the point where my suits no longer fit, because I was so small, and by the time, and I was getting weaker, and by the time I really decided I needed to go to the doctor, because once again I'm a man, so that's a thing that men, they don't want to say that I'm sick or I need to go to the doctor. Mm-hmm. So by the time I did accept that fact, I had come from 260 down to 170. So that's quite a difference. And then when I went to the hospital, because I went through emergency, and great DMC, I went to Harper Hospital, emergency, and they came in and they told me that I was diagnosed with HIV. And so at that time they had a clinic at Detroit Receiving, was on the 7th floor in an area called 7B. So they referred me to 7B. You know, when you get out of the hospital, they give you paperwork and they tell you what the follow-up is. So my follow-up was to go to 7B. And when I went there, for some reason I took these pictures with me. And I went there to be treated, and it just so happened that the young man that they asked to speak to me was a man named Bernard Malachel. And God rest his soul, because he's passed away. And he was telling me the present, at that time, the present treatments and the prognosis and whatnot. And I brought out these pictures and I asked him, I was like, man, do you think I could ever look like this again? Mm-hmm. And he said, well, I don't know if you'll ever be that big again. He's like, but you will be able to gain weight, and you will be able to be more steady on your feet, etc. He said, but you must take these medications, and you must take them religiously. You cannot take them sometime. You can't take them when you feel like it. You must take them as scheduled. And for some reason, I believed him, because I had already started making my will. Because my mind told me, you're going to be dead soon, because that's what I thought about HIV. Not knowing that HIV and AIDS are two different things. But that's what I thought. So I believed him, and other than when I was locked up, I have never really missed my medication. My whole time locked up, my heart was just like, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get sicker. Yeah. And I lost weight again. Yeah. I was back down to in the 170-pound range. I didn't even spend a whole year in there. Wow. And I went back down. So as soon as I got out, I rushed back into care at the Detroit Medical Center. And now I find myself undetectable.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Any lasting thoughts you want to leave?
The main one is HIV is not a crime. It's not a death sentence. Just get yourself in care and be diligent, and you could live perhaps at least 24 years. I know that for a fact.
Thank you, Unc Lloyd.
It's my pleasure.